I need to take like a breath. Okay. Yep. All right. Okay. Welcome back, Double Teamed fam. How are we doing today? We have a lovely guest with us today. Her name is Lilly Sparks. She is the founder and CEO of Afterglow, which is an amazing ethical porn site that helps you have better sex. How are you today?
I'm so happy to be here with you guys. I'm so excited. I can't wait to talk about porn with you guys.
Yes. Well, okay. So we have a little icebreaker question.
Oh, yeah.
And we kind of stole this from
Another
podcast that we record with. Shout out to Sex Talk with My Mom. But what are the first three words that pop up when you think about the time you lost your virginity?
Romantic,
Ooh.
sweet, and young.
Young.
Oh, okay.
I was 15, so
I was pretty young.
not young, but
Yeah.
now I'm 36. So when I think back on it, I'm like, oh, I was
a baby,
young.
yeah.
Okay, wait.
I lost mine it was right around 15, 16, so it's also
Yeah.
around the same time.
Mine was 18.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So what made it romantic?
I know, I want to know.
So it was my first boyfriend, and we'd been together for what I felt like was a while. I feel like it was like 5 or 6 months because
Yeah.
I grew up conservative, like on the conservative side, and so I had thought that like I don't think I thought I was gonna wait till marriage, but I definitely wanted it to be something a serious thing.
Yeah.
When I did it, and with somebody who I really loved. So waited about like 5 months, I think, when we were together, and we waited till a moment when like we could spend the night together too.
Oh, wow.
And I actually lied to my mom and told her I was going to a like dance team sleepover because it was happening that night.
Oh, God.
And and his parents just happened to be out of town, so it like lined up perfectly.
Oh, good.
So for teenagers, like we'd been fooling around in like his car and my car and like off a dirt road. So being able to like be in a bed together itself was like a very romantic moment, and we kind of planned it out, and like we didn't have rose petals, but
That's
I was
cute.
wearing like a like little lingerie, and it was just really like special.
I love that.
That sounds a lot better than my first time.
I know. I'm trying to remember the words that I used to describe mine, but I don't even remember at this point. I have to go back and listen to this.
So my first
But it was
time,
not that thought out. It was not.
Yeah, I was going to say the first time I lost my virginity, and I told this story before, but basically it was a guy I met on the highway.
Like we were driving and we were all like,
and
oh,
he
they're
was
hot.
in the car next to us, and I was like, hey, and then we met up at the same club. But it was like a month after that we had sex for the first time, and it was like he had bongs all over his room, and Ellie Goulding lights was on.
Oh, that's a great song.
It is. And then there's a mirror on the ceiling.
Oh my God.
So it was a lot. It was a lot, and it was not planned, and it was not romantic, but that's okay. We have healed.
I think we put too much pressure on your first time, and we put too much pressure around sex in general.
Yeah.
Being like, I think all these movies and films give us this like, oh, it's supposed to be
Like
this
romantic, perfect
thing.
moment. Yeah.
And it's like, it's funny, it's messy, it's silly.
There are weird noises.
There are weird moments. Like even if you're with somebody who you've had sex with a million times, you can be like, ooh, my arm hurts,
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
think we need to normalize all of that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, so tell us what made you want to start a porn site?
Yeah. So I was in a relationship with my high school sweetheart who I lost my virginity to
Oh.
from age 15 to age 30.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
And I didn't orgasm until I was 24.
Wow.
And so I always was like, oh, sex, I liked sex. It felt good. And we were each other's first and only partners. But I felt like there was something I was missing. I was like, I feel like people make a really big deal out of this. And it seems like they talk about it like it's the greatest thing on earth. And like, it feels good. But I feel like there's a gap there. And there's really like nowhere to figure that out. Like I just felt like I love learning things, and I'm really good at figuring things out and like using my resources. But when it came to sex, I just felt really lost and really alone. And the only place that we really see people have sex
porn.
is porn. So the genesis for Afterglow is like, okay, how do we create porn that like, I wanted to create porn that showed the kind of sex that I wanted to have and that would help people with their sex life, or at least provide some kind of positive contribution to it.
I love that. Pause. Can you tilt the microphone up just slightly?
Yeah.
Okay, talk.
Better?
Yes.
Hello?
Okay.
Yeah.
So Kami has this habit of like she'll put hers like this and then it just sounds like a little bit off, but I like
Yeah.
But it's good, right?
Yours is good. All good. All good.
So, okay. What was the first porn you watched?
I know I was going to ask, what was your journey with porn? And
Yeah.
did you and your boyfriend watch it together?
We did watch it together.
Okay.
My first experience of porn is in the DVD era, back in the DVD era. And I feel like it was after prom, and it was like a few couples back at someone's house, like kind of doing an after party thing. And somebody brought it over, and I remember it was called Young Girls in Prison.
Oh.
And it was like they had a lot of great lingerie on for being in prison, and they had to convince the guards to get out. I mean,
Love that premise.
I would definitely suck someone's cock to get out of jail. Like, just saying it.
I'm not above
That'd be
it.
an easy decision for
I'm
me.
not above it.
I would do it. I think I would
Wait,
do
so
it.
this was did a group watch the
Yeah,
porn?
it was like a
Like
group.
a movie.
Yeah, it was like watching it like a movie. And I remember, I actually remember like, one thing about porn is it's really good at creating arousal.
Yeah.
And a lot of women, we have like responsive desire. So it takes us a little longer to get in the mood. And I remember watching it and being like, I'm really horny right now.
Yeah.
And then like turning to my boyfriend and being like, let's go have sex. And I remember we had like amazing sex
Wow.
right after watching it.
But you didn't come.
I didn't come. Not
Not that that means that it was bad
No,
sex.
what's
Not that
funny
means that it was bad sex.
Is that like I feel like that's one of the times where I like I maybe came, but I'm not sure,
Oh,
or
but
I
you
got
didn't
really
know.
close to it. Like actually, it's really funny. I never put that together until this moment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey.
Thank you, porn.
Yeah.
Not to say that like you need an orgasm in order for it to be amazing or like for it to be good sex, because absolutely not. Like
Yeah.
there are definitely times where like my body's like, we're just not going to get there today.
Yeah.
You know, and I definitely like I've still had like great sex even during those moments, but it's just I'm fascinated that like, or at least, you know, what you said, it wasn't until 24 that you like really truly experienced that.
Yeah.
That's
and
interesting.
I think it's something like 20% of women
Yeah.
that like don't orgasm or have a lot of trouble orgasming. So it's really common.
Yeah.
I always say like the first 3 years of your sex life, just like throw them away.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's just, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what I experienced. I don't even know if I orgasmed my first time. I don't think I did.
I didn't
definitely
from
cried.
sex.
But that was like an internal thing, not him. I definitely cried because I was like, oh my God, I just did it. Like, but then I was like, what? I did it. And then I don't know. It was just like an emotional moment.
Was it a good cry or was it a bad cry? Or just an emotional
It was just like an emotional thing.
Yeah.
And I guess because like, for example, Nikki lost her virginity at 15 or 16.
15, 16, somewhere around that. I don't
So
remember.
did all my other friends.
Okay.
I was like the last one on the block. I was 18. I was about to graduate. Like literally graduation was like 2 months around the corner. And so that's why I was like, I don't know. I felt like I had all the pressure of, my friends already having gone through it, and then I didn't. So then once I finally did it, then I was like, oh. So yeah. It was just like an emotional time. But yeah, and I don't even remember like the
With
time
porn,
after the time after that, like I don't remember orgasming. But we started watching porn.
that's what I was gonna say. With porn, like we used to watch it like with Michaela.
We watched it.
It was
with
like a
our
movie.
friends.
Yeah.
Like
It was
we
like a
would do
movie.
sleepovers and like. But we first started out. I don't know if you remember this, but it was like a interactive porn quiz.
I don't
where it's
remember
like-
that.
Yeah. Okay. So it was like it was like different slides, and you would like answer questions. And then like this naked girl would like pop up on the next screen. Do you remember that?
No. I
remember.
hardly remember my porn journey because I didn't watch a whole lot of it in the beginning. Because I was having a lot of sex. And so maybe, I don't know if that was like a thing, but I was just like, I was so caught up in maybe like exploring it physically with my boyfriend at the time. but it wasn't. But I remember there would be times where we would like watch it like with our friends, but I never watched it like with a partner or anything. And I don't really think I did that until I met my husband, my ex-husband. Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Or I'll call him first husband.
college parties always. There was always porn. At least one out of every like 10. You know. I remember one time I went to a house party with a bunch of friends, and they had a giant TV screen right when you walk in, and it was like these 5 girls like in a hot tub, like all having sex with each other. And like it was almost a little bit distracting. I was like, wait, we're all playing cards, but there's porn. I was like, what's going on here? And it was just, it was a fun time. But
my question was going to be, because you kind of mentioned that like you watched it in a group setting, you and your boyfriend had amazing sex after, you were very aroused by it. Would you say like your, at least the beginning of your journey with porn, or maybe all of it, I don't know, like would you say it was like a healthy relationship that you built with it along the way?
Yeah, I think I've always had a pretty healthy relationship with it, and I've never really believed that it was bad. And you know, when I got into this industry, I believed some other things like, you know, women are exploited and trafficked, and like that there was like bad stuff out there. But my personal relationship with it was like, okay, maybe this is like a little cheesy, or like not really my style, or not really like my ideal type of sex that I'm seeing, but it's still fun and arousing and explorative.
Absolutely.
I like
Because I see a lot of, or at least this day and age, like a lot of my male partners talk about how like they either cut it out completely, and then and they say that like they see that amongst their friends too. They're like, oh yeah, it's usually like it's very kind of hot and cold. It seems like, and I don't know if it's everyone's experience with it, but like, yeah, I've come across so many people that are like, I don't watch it at all, never. And then others that are like, yeah, I have a pretty good relationship with it. It's for fun every once in a while, and like that's it. And so, which is fine. And like for me, I always felt like I had a pretty like healthy relationship with it. And it's definitely had its like ebbs and flows. But like, I guess I find it discouraging when I see people that are like, that completely cut it off because they think it's like completely unhealthy. Because I think there's a way to like A, source ethical porn, like from sites like yours, and B, like build a healthy relationship with it. So it's not something that you avoid because like you think it's just going to lead to bad things. And obviously there's a lot of shame around it, but yeah, I don't know.
There's studies that show that it's like, it's actually the shame that causes the negative effects around porn, and casual sex is similar. So if you believe having casual sex is bad, you'll have, and if you believe watching porn is bad, you'll have negative psychological consequences from it.
That makes sense.
But if you believe that watching porn is good and healthy, then you'll have benefits from watching it.
Interesting.
I can see that.
And I think it's different with different people, and like there's exceptions, but that's like a very strong like causation. Is just like if you believe it goes against your morals or your values, then it'll be bad for you. It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
I could
Do
see
you
that.
think it's addictive? Because I was in college. I watched it so much, like on my own, and we had a clip about this from another podcast go viral. But I used to watch it like 15, 20 times a day. And then it was a shame. I was like, I'm so ashamed of this. Like, all I want to do is watch porn and masturbate. And it just became this huge problem for me. And then finally I was like, I'm cutting it off. And I tried to do that for like a few years, and it just backfired. It did not work very well. Now I finally have like a good, I would say a healthy relationship with porn. Like when I want to watch it, I watch it, and I don't feel shame, and I don't feel shame that I like lesbian porn. And so it's like and I don't, it's not something that I need every day, but I like to, it's like an enhancer to my sex life, right? But like for example, when we like that clip that went viral about me watching porn 15 to 20 times, so many people were like, that's an addiction. Do you think people can be addicted to porn?
So there's an amazing researcher. Her name is Nicole Prouse. She's a total badass. Like I look up to her so much, and she showed that it doesn't use the same neural pathways. porn does not like use the same neural pathways that addiction does. Porn addiction is not a diagnosis in like the DSM-5, which is the psychology manual. So it's not a accepted diagnosis. Anybody who's like an ASEC certified sex therapist will like not use that term. People say there is, you know, it's like a compulsive use disorder that you can have. So it's, you know, we can get addicted, quote unquote, to anything. You know, we can have bad patterns in our life and they can negatively affect us. But it's the narrative that it like hijacks your brain and like messes up your like brain chemistry has been shown to be not true.
And I think that's why a lot of people think that, and I feel like that's why men are all the time they're like, no, I want to stop watching it because I feel like it's gonna like ruin my brain.
Yeah,
I've seen that happen.
I mean, I definitely think, at least like when I see people that are like, oh, I completely cut it off. I don't think it has anything to actually do with the porn. I just think that they lack self-discipline, so they're afraid of it. Or I also think that then they kind of, and I don't know if this is like a weird way to say it, but it's almost like they kind of form attachments to it. So then they're like, instead of like building a healthy relationship, they form attachments to it because they do that with other things as well. So then they're afraid to like dive into it because they don't know how to approach a healthy relationship with something. So I always think it's like less about the porn and more so about like something that like they're not willing to face about like their own patterns and like attachments or habits, whatever.
I think a lot of people use it as a coping mechanism.
That too.
And I think it'll, you know, for like a lot of people who use a lot of porn are, you know, have depression or have anxiety. And like it's been proven that masturbation lowers your stress levels.
And masturbation's great. Yeah.
And masturbation's great. And so I think that people use it as a coping mechanism. And, you know, is it probably better to go for a run and lift some weights and meditate? Like, yes, it is. But
maybe. Depends on perspective.
Is it bad for you to watch porn and masturbate? Like, I think it's totally fine to have it as one tool in your toolkit.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you, like, I know for your site, you say it's an ethical porn site. I really wanted to know kind of like what was your definition between ethical porn and what maybe you might consider as unethical porn?
Great question. So I'm going to start with what is not ethical porn.
Okay.
And most people think of like revenge porn or like child porn. And it's called like image-based sexual abuse. And that is illegal and it should be prosecuted and it's totally messed up. And then kind of, so that's like unethical, bad, and a crime. And then kind of like in the middle, there's what I like to call douchebag porn. Which is most mainstream sites. And they're just in it to make money. Like just like every other industry we have, you know, just they're in it to make money and that's their main goal. And they're going to do whatever they need to do to like keep you on the site for longer and make it really, you know, clickbaity and all of that kind of stuff. And they might not have the best content moderation, but most of the stuff on those sites is made in a way that like everybody is consenting and everybody is paid. It's not, or at least like choosing to put their videos on their site for like marketing purposes. Like it's not that hard to tell when you go to Pornhub, like if that piece of content that you're watching is made by like a reputable studio. Like, does it have the porn star's name in it? Like, is the person looking at the camera? Like, then they probably know they're being filmed. Like I would say like the vast majority on mainstream sites is ethical.
Okay.
Or it's not the most ethical, but it's not
completely unethical.
It's not illegal or people aren't being exploited. People aren't being trafficked.
Okay.
So then we get to ethical porn.
Okay.
And I just define ethical porn really simply, which is people who care about the impact that the porn is making on the world.
I like that.
But that can also mean a lot of different things to different people. So for some people, it might mean, you know, what is the storyline of this video? Or what are the like sexual acts performed in this video? Like some people don't believe it's possible to have an ethical gangbang.
Oh.
Whereas I have
Disagree.
seen, there's this amazing studio, Hard Work, that has like female-centered gangbangs that are where everyone's paid fairly, everyone's like totally consenting, and women also search for gangbangs a lot, more than men do. So I personally
that.
believe that you can have an ethical gangbang. I've seen an ethical gangbang, and it's amazing and lovely and beautiful.
Do you want to be a part of a gangbang? Or have you been?
That's a good question. Like I get the appeal of it. It's not my top fantasy.
Okay.
But I would say like the idea of having, 5 or 6 hot men all wanting to have sex with me, like, yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
Wait, what is your top fantasy?
That's a good question. Darn it.
No, I want to know.
Yeah.
I love learning.
Talk and I'll come up with it.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, we actually have 2 friends that met
At a gangbang.
a gangbang,
And
and now
they-
they're married.
And they're now married, and it cracks me up because the story is basically I was previously like in a relationship, and that partner set up the gangbang, and in the gangbang is where she met her future husband, and I was like, that's adorable.
I love that story.
But I love that you said that there is such a thing as an ethical.
Ethical gangbang.
There is, and I absolutely love that.
I also really like kind of like the distinction that you said about like, what someone's perception of like ethical may be. Cause I agree. And I'm non-monogamous, and like, a lot of people use ethical non-monogamy as like an acronym in that. But then so many people are like, well, what's ethical? Like what, A, the perception of that can be different for everyone. And B, then that means that like, does that mean that non-monogamy is inherently unethical? So it's like, sometimes adding those adjectives to the front can leave a lot of room for interpretation. And so like,
yeah.
I could see how like, maybe for you as like the founder of this site and everything, like you want to have that definition of your own so you can define ethical for your own site and the product that you're providing to people. So
Yeah, and like a lot of people are probably in unethical monogamous relationships.
yeah.
It does happen, unfortunately.
And I love that you said that, because so many times people are like, well, if you're cheating, that just means like you're non-monogamous. I'm like, no, if you're cheating, that means you're unethically monogamous.
Yep.
Like, anyways,
Yeah.
but that's a whole nother
That's
topic.
a
What?
great way to put it. Why don't you comment that on the TikToks when people are like, isn't just non-monogamy just cheating? You'd be like, actually.
Okay, I will make that distinction.
Okay.
Also, the gangbang reminds me of my top fantasy. As I mentioned,
Wait, and watching in porn or just top fantasy?
top fantasy.
Okay, go on.
And so, and I'm only saying this because like I just want to always, speak things out into the universe. But mine would be that at my next wedding or celebration of love, I don't know if I'll get married again, but I feel like I'll probably commit to someone again. And so at my next celebration of love, I want it to be like a sex party. And I want all the dudes that attend to like, to contribute to a gangbang. And then finally my partner or partners, if there's multiple of them, come inside me and everyone else just finishes on me. That's my fantasy.
So what? I
gonna
know we're
film
like
that?
going off on a gangbang tangent, but one of the gangbangs that you can see on our website is called Bride Gang.
Okay,
And
tell me more.
You
Do
should.
tell.
I'm not going to tell you more because I want you to watch it, and
Okay.
I don't want to spoil it for
Wait,
you.
what is it
but
called?
Bride
Bride Gang.
Gang.
I'm gonna go look this up.
But it is definitely like inspired by your fantasy.
I love that.
Wait, so
I'm glad I'm not alone.
Are you a part of the production?
So on our site, we have films that we've produced,
Mm-hmm.
and then we also license films from other ethical producers in the space.
Oh,
That-
so you've produced your own.
We have produced our own films. Yeah.
Wait, was it like a vision of yours or?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, what was it?
So the first film we produced is called Lip Service, and
Yes.
to this day it's my favorite. And I really wanted to show a woman like how to talk in bed and how to tell your partner what to do, but in a way that doesn't, people think it like kills the mood, but you can actually tell somebody what to do in a really hot way.
Sexy way, yeah.
And it's centered around cunnilingus. And there's actually no penetration in the film, but it's still like super, super hot. And it's a woman telling her partner how she wants him to go down on her.
This is the one that you sent me a clip of that I watched, right? Oh my God.
Yeah.
So you produced that?
We produced that one.
love
Yeah.
that.
I don't think I watched that one. I watched another one.
Steph and I watched it and we were like, can we put this in the flash?
I'm trying to remember which one I watched, but it had a dude with black hair. I remember that. And I don't remember what the rest of it is.
I like one of the clips you have in like that promo trailer that you have. It's a pregnant couple.
Yeah.
So
That one was also produced by us and it won a bunch of awards.
oh
Really?
my God, that is
Congrats.
lovely.
Because
Yeah.
we just want to, like the ones that we produce, we want to twist things that like tropes that you see in mainstream porn. So in mainstream porn, like maybe there'll be a pregnancy porn, but it'll be like very fetishy. And so we just wanted, and a lot of women get really super horny when they're pregnant.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to show a more normal pregnant storyline of like, you can be pregnant and want to fuck and be beautiful. And it can be like happy and you don't have to like, we just want to do things that uplift people and like make them see sex in maybe a little bit of a different, more comfortable way than they used to.
I like it.
So how has, founding and, growing with your porn site, how has it changed like your view on sex and porn, or even like your personal goals
Has it
sex?
has it affected your own, but like your personal sex life? Hopefully in a positive way. Yeah.
So I'll start with my fantasy because I did think of it, but it's a little cheesy.
No, let's hear it.
So I ended up splitting with my high school boyfriend when I was like 30, and now I'm engaged again.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, and we have really amazing sex and like really great communication. Like that is we met after I started Afterglow. So that was kind of like something he knew going into it. But my fantasy is to have better sex than I've ever had before
The last one.
with him. Because we've had like obviously like amazing sex.
I love
So my
that.
fantasy is just for it to get
Better and
Even
better.
better.
even better.
Not let it regress. I love that.
Have
And I think that's a
y'all-
good like goal to have too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think people actually like go into, I think most people go into relationships thinking like, oh, the sex is great now and it's probably going to downgrade, and somewhere along the point or somewhere along the line, we're going to have to like think of ways to like get it to be like decent again.
Yeah.
So we enjoy each other again. So I like the idea of like instead looking at it as like, you know what? This time was great. It's going to be better next time, and better and better and better. I think that's a positive, like a really great mindset to have.
Wait, so have you done threesomes?
I have not.
As
I'm actually really, for running a porn company, I am pretty vanilla.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask. I was like, it like if with Afterglow, if it makes you want to like explore more of like the boundary pushing with like threesomes or
Yeah,
gangbang.
it does 100%.
Yeah.
It's made me way more open. We got a sex couch,
Oh,
which has been really fun.
yeah.
Okay.
It's definitely like now I just don't see a lot of sex things as that big of a deal. But in the same respect, it's not something that I want to like force myself to want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That
get
makes
that.
sense. I
Yeah.
mean, not everybody needs to want a threesome.
Yeah.
I know a
That's
lot of
true.
people like fantasize about it, But
I work a lot. I'm busy. I'm like, I have enough on my, like,
Yeah. I imagine.
I like having like the sure thing, like
Yeah.
I come home, I know how, like, I'm going to get some good sex every time.
Yeah.
And like,
There
that
you
makes
go.
me really happy.
So what does your sex couch have? If you don't mind me asking.
It's just like shaped in like a way that helps you hit the angles.
Oh, is it like
it's like-
the
Yeah, it's the Liberator, and it has like a pillow too that you can use to like help. Like, it's hard to explain, but yeah, it basically just like makes the angles easier to be like even better. Like,
Yeah.
it props props you up in a certain way that you can get like really good, both for penetration and for 69 and for like everything. It just, you know, like sometimes you're like moving your head, twisting it, like trying to make things fit.
Yeah.
Like,
And mattresses aren't always at like good levels.
yeah.
Okay,
Especially
what was
our
that one show that we watched with all the different sex rooms?
How to build a sex room?
How to build a sex room. Did you watch that?
I haven't watched it.
Oh my
Highly
god,
recommend.
I
Okay.
loved it. But she had a ton of different like sex furnitures.
Yeah, some couches had like different kind of like little things on them, like attachments, you know, for like all kind of cuffs or whatever. Like we saw a variety on there, and I thought it was really cool, and definitely has become a goal of mine to have a sex couch.
So, do you also portray BDSM in your?
We do.
Okay.
Yes.
I was going to ask, what categories have you decided that you like absolutely do not want to show on the site?
Yeah. So we don't describe people as like teens.
Love that.
Or MILFs.
Love that.
And we try to avoid like racial fetishization because a lot of like the traditional mainstream sites, it'll be like ebony, big boob slut, you know?
Yeah.
And we just try to characterize people as they want to be characterized.
Oh, that's great.
So it's not really about like the act necessarily as like being respectful and making sure everybody consents to what's going on.
I love that, because that is one thing that always really bothers me on like the mainstream porn sites, or one thing like, especially in the past, but it's like the teen ones. I was like, I'm attracted to the people here, but like you're using it to describe, and I'm like, I'm not into that. So then it just like, it's a big turn off, and I get it, you know, everyone's got their, but
We don't do like step sibling stuff either.
Oh, okay, that's good.
I hate that one. I don't get it.
Don't understand. Now, MILF every now and then, I don't mind if it's done well.
I know, but they
like,
always make the guy look so young, and I'm just like, ugh.
the step sibling, and just I can't do it. Or the mom daughter.
We have a lot of friends that are, or what we have, maybe not a lot of friends, but we have a couple friends that we've met that are like in the porn industry, and like, you know, a lot of them talk about that. Is like how they hate, you know, when it's like described as like, you know, one of our friends, she's our age or just a little bit younger.
Who?
We recorded with her, Rory.
And she's our age.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember.
20.
Yeah, she's not that much younger. Anyways, but she's like, I hate being described as a teen. She's like, because I'm not a teen, like I'm a woman, like, you know. And so that would, if I was like in the porn industry, that would definitely bother me. And I don't know how much say they get to like in the titles or like how they're described or anything like that. So I think if you guys at least give your, you know, the performers some input, or like if they can at least say like, hey, don't use this. And like, I think that's absolutely great and empowering for them too, because, you know, it is their body, their work, their art, and everything that they're putting out there. And so like if I were them, I'd want to have some say in like what's said about what I put. So
Well, do they often like for the, you know, especially like on Pornhub and stuff, they name it to make it like clickbaity or what's like
SEO search terms.
That's
It's
what I was gonna
literally
say.
what people are searching for.
Yeah. So do you find, and like with your site, do you find, you know, that people are searching for this and that more often than not?
So we don't have a search bar right now. That's not on purpose. That's just because we're a startup and developers are expensive. But it's also because our goal, like we haven't prioritized it because we want the Afterglow experience to be a little bit more like exploratory and more about maybe seeing something that you didn't like, that isn't your normal search term, like cravings and her being pregnant, you know, and watching that and learning from it. Like, you know, another example is we have a compilation that's about vulva diversity, and it's like 5 films celebrating vulva diversity with different body types, different body shapes. And it's studies have shown that seeing different vulvas actually improves body acceptance and body confidence. So like you might not search like fat pussy on Pornhub, but like, you know, watching it can be both hot and empowering. And so we try to create more of like that kind of guided experience for our users.
I love the ones that you have that are more like teaching. Those I think are great because like you don't see that on like the normal sites. and it kind of reminded me of the vulva diversity. I think like, I mean, at least for me, when I first started playing with women and like exploring my bisexuality, it definitely like kind of opened my eyes to like the variety, because on porn, like in mainstream porn at least, or like a lot of what I've seen, they all tend to look very similar. Or, and you know, I mean,
a lot of times
that's
like
on purpose.
we were looking for films for the showcase, and we realized that a lot of mainstream porn just doesn't even show the vagina that much.
No, it doesn't. It'll show like a side angle, or it'll kind of like,
because we were like looking at it and we're like, what does it look like? Is it like this? Is it like that? And like,
and so I like
but they'll show the bush.
which like that in itself is a problem.
Yeah, I would agree. But I love the diversity piece, but also like the teaching aspect, because I wish I had something that would have like, when I first started, I guess, going down on women, like I was basing it all completely on what I knew and on my own body, and not anything that I ever saw anywhere else. So, and I was like, I feel like this is like a resource that everyone, especially men, need to have when they start going down on women.
One of my favorite things we have on Afterglow is a guided cunnilingus exercise. And you listen to it while you're going down on your partner.
So it's just audio?
It's just audio. And you're supposed to do it like there's she'll say, you know, okay, like lick the side of the labia, like now make circles on the clit. And it's really revolutionary, because you don't know what your partner thinks circles means. And like you can't see what they're doing or what they think they're doing, and like we don't even have a shared language around it. So I feel like the power of that exercise is you can just be like, oh, okay, like they said, you know, suck on the clit, and I really liked that, and that's what he or she did that was good. So now I know to say like, okay, I want you to suck on my clit.
Yeah, and now they have words around it.
Yeah, and like what their previous partner liked, or what their previous partner meant by circles, like those could be all different things.
I'm gonna try this
pressure.
out, the audio, except I'm gonna have my partner wear earplugs and he be the only one listening.
Why?
Because I want to see how, like, I just want to see how the experience is when I don't know what's coming, like from the guided thing.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I'm going to go back and listen to it.
Oh, I like that.
I like that too.
Isn't that a good idea? I like that.
It's really fun.
I feel like
and it takes the pressure off both parties, because somebody else is telling you what to do. So if you don't like it, it's not your partner's fault. It's like, it's her fault.
It's like, blame the guided.
It's not you. It's not the partner. It's like, yeah.
Blame the guided video
Yeah.
or the guided audio.
Yeah.
Do you have that for giving head as well? Like,
We need to, it's on the list. It'll be coming.
okay, because I want to try that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is like such a fun idea.
I'd also like to see what it says, because like, you know, I want to know how it compares to how I've been giving head all along.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing too, that I remember when I first started like being sexually active, and you know, obviously none of us know what we're doing. And I remember like when I was going down on the guy or whatever, I remember at one point I'm like, is this good? Do you like it? And he was like, yeah. And then like afterwards he was like, oh, this one girl, her boyfriend says she does it really well, so maybe ask her what she thinks. And I'm like, does that mean you don't like the way I'm doing it? Like, what does it mean? He's like, no, I don't know, I'm just trying to help you. And I'm like, anyways, and it made me
Did
like,
you know the couple?
What? Yeah, I'll tell you who it was later. You'll know. But anyways,
why did you just tell me now?
It was Roz, and then
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh, I remember her. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, who was
Maylee,
No. Who was the guy that you were?
Dylan.
Oh, Dylan. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Anyways,
keep going.
sorry about that. He was just like, wait, who are you talking about? Anyways, and so it's like, you know, I don't know. Even back then, like those Reese's would have been great, because then you don't know, like, and you just kind of have to like hope that along the way, like what you're doing works, and then like sometimes they tell you you're doing great, other times they don't. They usually don't tell you. Like, anyways, it's just a whole mess. And like, I wish, you know, when it came to like sex education, I get it. Probably like educators or like parents probably don't want to sit there and tell us like how to do it. But it would be great if they could at least just be like, here's the anatomy that you're working with. And so like you could understand it. Because then at least then that would be a starting point.
I don't even
I would
remember
think.
my first blowjob.
Do you?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I mean, it was with my high school sweetheart.
Yeah.
So
Oh, do you feel like you?
What's the question?
The question is like, for example, the first, I don't know, 20 partners in my life, I had like short-term relationships, so I don't really remember a lot of the sex. I remember like the theme of it, but not like specific instances.
Oh, so with a long-term partner, do you have better
But
memory
you've
of it?
also had a long-term partner. Do you feel like having a long-term partner that it helps you remember your sexual experiences more?
I was with my partner for 10 years. No.
yeah, I think it's. I think there's more experiences, so you have a really good like your memory just kind of combines things.
Yes.
So you have a really good like standard approximation story in your head that's very clear, but it's not like you remember every single time.
Like specific instances.
yeah, like my fiance will be like, "Oh, remember this time we had sex?" And I'll be like,
No.
"No."
Okay, wait. So, but you remember the first time you gave head? Do you think you did good?
I do. I mean, I'm trying to remember because I feel like I think I did good, but then I feel like he said something like very obvious, like, "Oh, next time will you try like massaging my balls?" And I was like, "Oh, I never thought of that."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like if someone doesn't tell you, like,
yeah.
how are you gonna? I don't know what his anatomy feels like.
Exactly.
You know.
And you're always told to avoid the balls because they're sensitive. So it's like you never want to like, do something wrong.
Some people like a good old yank, you know? So
Oh, no.
not any of my recent partners, but every now and then you do run into those.
I wanted to ask, so obviously like we see a lot of content now like on OnlyFans or like people that post like their own like home kind of videos on the mainstream porn sites. Like what are your thoughts? Is that something that you guys like also utilize on the site as well? I'm curious.
One thing I wanted to add was just the easiest way to be sure that your porn is ethical is to pay for it.
Oh.
So I think OnlyFans, like that's a great way. Like you're going direct to the source. It's like farm to table porn.
Farm to
I love that.
I love that term. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And because I mean, they have complete control of what they're doing.
Exactly.
So they're doing it how they want it. They're posting it how they want, titling it, the scenarios, everything. There's one couple that I watch specifically. They make their own stuff, and it's by far probably my favorite, Hansel and Gretel.
I know. I knew you were going to say that.
I need to look them up because they're
really good.
We do license some kind of like more amateur OnlyFans-ish stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it's great because I think it does show like that real connection between people, which is what people really want to see in porn. Like they want to feel that like chemistry happening. And
That's what I like about it.
Performers who are really good at faking it. But it's also really cool like knowing that it is real too.
The
It reminds
faking
me-
it thing is, that's a good point.
What you said about the connection reminds me of when I was younger or like growing up, my favorite porn star was always Madison Ivy. And I loved her body. But I just remember like there would be times where like you could just tell that she was like into the person, and then other times where she was probably like not. And just because I watched so much of her content, like you got to like really kind of see based on like her body language or things like whatever, when she was like actually excited about something and when she wasn't. And maybe that's just me, like maybe I'm over analyzing like her micro movements here and there, like eye contact
You
or
really
whatever.
are. I never noticed.
Yeah, but like I could tell. And so and whenever I like watch the couples that like make their own content and everything, I see that connection too. And you can kind of tell there are just like little things here and there that like show you, the connection between them. And like I think for women, like those are the things that turn them on.
Yeah.
Like that is the female gaze. The women are attracted to that. I don't know what the male gaze is. I don't know exactly what turns them on about porn. I can't speak for them, but I know like for me at least, like it's always like when I see like the connection, and maybe that's why I always like lesbian porn. Like there always seemed to be like a really nice connection between them for the most part. And like that's when I was like aroused by it because I don't know, it's just it like turned me on.
Would you ever make a porno?
Like be in one.
Yeah.
I'm a really bad actor.
You don't have to
Like
act.
I'm a really bad like I
even
would
just,
never
like, the
say never.
amateur.
Like I would never say never, but like even just like when I have to do interviews and stuff, like I've realized like I have so much respect for performers and like it's a really hard job. Like I even had to do just like this little intro video to Afterglow and I sent it to like my coworker and he's like, you are so bad at that.
Oh my God. Why?
He's like, you sound nothing like you do in real life. Like I just get really stiff.
I get that. Being in front of a camera is really hard.
Yeah.
I have definitely learned that as well. And like, I don't know if it's because like when we're recording, I just treat it like a conversation with Cammie. So it's just like easy and I don't think about the camera ever. Maybe that helps. But for the most part, if it was like something's like anytime we have to record an ad, that's when I'm like, okay, we've gotten better at it though.
Yeah.
But like it definitely took some time
the
to like
voice definitely changed.
yeah, it took a while to get to a point where like the ads started to feel more like flowy and like us actually like talking about things that like or products that we really enjoy versus like, okay, we got to hit this and we got to make sure we're like upbeat and like we want to perform well for them and like do a good job and make a good ad and like make them happy. Anyways,
Dude,
so.
even like especially like the men, like the idea of like having to have sex with somebody and then have a camera like right there,
Yeah.
like, and to like really be relaxed and like, cause I think it's more fun when you're more relaxed.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. 10 times.
Well, I was going to say, so a few months back, I was having sex and my partner filmed it. We were doing doggy style.
Oh,
And I went back and watched it and it was hot as hell. And I was like, I would submit this to a site. Of course we didn't. But like that just made me think like, you know, how open people would be to like submitting their own
I think there's a
sex
lot.
sessions.
I think there's way more people that like want to do it, but then there's just so much stigma around porn that they don't.
Yeah, I also have a podcast, so like I don't want people finding and then being like,
But
I saw you.
I think like you've got some natural talent because everybody that I've talked to has been like, oh, I filmed myself having sex and I went back and watched it. And it was just like,
they hated it. I get that.
they're like, it felt really good. But when I went back and watched it, like,
Well,
Didn't want- yeah.
so this partner, he really likes taking videos while we have sex, and he.
Who is this?
Oh, okay. Anyways,
I was expecting like Jonathan.
no.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Continue.
he and I experiment with like restraints and stuff now. But anyways, so he really likes to take home videos, like close up, like I'm blowing him, the camera's right there.
See,
like,
that I can't do.
and some of those videos that he's taken, I'm like, I can't watch this. I watched like 2 seconds of it and I'm like, no. But then he's like, I watched this 5 times this morning and jacked off to it. And I was like, okay, great. Please delete it.
I definitely think it has to, like the angle depends. Cause like if someone's filming it in
Yes.
doggy, I love it.
But
But
that's
if
what
it's
I
my
was saying.
face, like
Yeah.
when I'm blowing someone, it's not my favorite.
Exactly. So when it was like up close of like BJ's, no thank you. But the minute I saw me bent over, I was like, I look good. I look good. Should I try this? Like, is this my path? I don't know.
I was gonna ask where, like, are there certain aspects or like certain areas of the porn industry that you do feel are like maybe like a little oversaturated? And then I also want to know like what are the areas you think there could be more of? Then I want to hear that.
yeah. That's a good question. I mean, I just think that like there's not enough content for women and there's not enough content that helps you with your sex life. And it actually hit the Pornhub like top 10 list.
Oh, really?
How to has been like a very growing, like one of the top growing categories.
Love
like how
that.
to.
Love
And
that.
it's like people go to porn to learn about sex, but like people are still using videos from like the 80s and like Nina Hartley, like old school stuff. So like that's why I started Afterglow, obviously, is because like I thought this just needed to exist in the world, and I was
Absolutely.
like, I'm just gonna be that change and like make it happen.
Love that.
Be the
Yeah.
change you want to see in the world.
But I think a lot of the stuff that's there on the mainstream sites is there because it gets clicks, and it's there because people watch it.
I guess I just always wondered if like the OnlyFans or like home video kind of space or I shouldn't say home video, like creator
Amateur,
content,
yeah.
was oversaturated. But at the same time, but then I think about like so much of like content creation has to do with about like the connection that you build with your audience. And so like there's always room for it if, you know, if you do take the time to like actually build a genuine connection with them and, you know,
Yeah.
like really kind of respond to their needs but also, you know, while balancing yours. So
Yeah,
it's a lot.
there's the joke, or like, you know, you definitely see it where people are like, oh, I'll just go start an OnlyFans, you know, and make a bunch of money. And
Yeah.
that is so false.
Oh yeah.
So like most people that start OnlyFans never make anything from it because they're not willing to do marketing.
You have to market it.
Like being top, you know, 1% on OnlyFans is a lot like being a top 1% influencer. Like that's the level of like work and effort and like hustle you have to have. Like you have to respond to DMs, you have to do custom videos, like you have to do content trades with other people so that that people's audience finds out about you. Like it is I know people who do OnlyFans, and we've done like interviews, like a day in the life of the OnlyFans creator. And I'm like, this just seems so grueling.
Yeah. It's a lot.
One of my friends, I think she still has her OnlyFans account, but when she first started it, she was like, you know, some of the requests that you get are like pretty interesting. She was like, this guy told me, you know, this is exactly what we're going to do, you know, during this 5-minute phone call. And she's like, and that's exactly how it went. You know, I started the phone call, you know.
Was it sexual content on OnlyFans?
Yeah.
Oh, and so
Well, and she went, but like one of the examples she gave, it was just like the guy like sat there for 5 minutes. Like, I don't know, it's just some weird scenario, but she just step by step did everything he said. And it wasn't even like that big of an ask, if you ask me. But like you have to do that like over and over and over again. And
You have to
people,
have
that's a
really
lot.
strong boundaries, and you
Yeah.
have to like have really thick skin of just like people, you know, like the same thing, like the, you know, ebony, big boob, like whatever, like you have like people's perceptions of you like very much in your face a lot.
That's true.
yeah.
Oh, I hadn't thought about
And that's
that.
why
And,
like
and people trying to put and be like, you know, people I think also trying to push you or get you to like get a rise. Like I think they try to get a rise out of you in certain ways.
yeah.
They want
I
to get a
mean,
reaction from you.
Yeah.
I could see that.
But that's another reason why, like, for porn stars, I mean, like OnlyFans creators, porn stars, I just have massive respect for them for the way they, I mean, like, they can handle it.
Yeah.
Like, and people get creepy too.
Yeah.
So,
I did want to ask as kind of like the final question. So where do you want to take Afterglow? If your wildest dreams could come true for Afterglow, what would that look like?
Yeah, my wildest dreams would just for it to be really accepted in our society and like not so much of a taboo thing. So like winning a short film Oscar would be my dream. And
manifest it.
like having some kind of educational porn included in sex ed when in, you know, at age appropriate times, I think would be like where I hope we're going with, you know, just more openness and more pleasure focused. Cause like we've learned so much about, okay, don't get diseases. Here's all the things that can go wrong when you have sex, and never about like your body being designed for pleasure. So yeah, I think like I measure my success at Afterglow and like how many orgasms was I able to create because of it.
I love that.
Orgasms, y'all.
Yeah.
I wish you
the
that
sauce.
short film Oscar.
Yeah.
Wait, I have a question.
What was
Would
the
you
question?
ever, you know, especially because you make educational content, how do you do this without like sounding okay? Would you ever make like educational content for like schools to show, you know, like teenagers in sex ed classes?
Yeah. I mean, now it's completely, it's illegal,
It
you know,
is?
to like show porn. I think I don't know exactly the laws,
not
but
necessarily porn, but like educational, like, you know, this
Yeah.
is the anatomy of like, I don't know.
But something that's like a little less. I see what you're saying. I don't know.
It's
That'd be tough
not
to
more
do.
like porn based, but like
Yeah.
science book, but like done right.
Kind
Yeah.
of like the in between.
Yeah.
I think it would just be really cool if like society, like if that was allowed and accepted in our society.
I would agree.
Well, because I think sometimes I think back on like, you know, the sex ed classes that we had as teenagers in high school. And it was basically just like, these are the terms, penis, vagina, and then don't have sex.
Yeah.
And then did we even go over STDs? I don't even remember that.
No, I don't remember that either.
I remember going all the...
They never even showed us how to put on a condom. Never
Yeah.
even learned
Yeah.
that.
And you see that in like the, you know, all the... what movies were those? American Pie, was it? I can't remember.
I don't
But like,
remember.
like the
Yeah.
older movies, you see them like, you know, or even like Mean Girls, they would show them putting a condom on a banana. But like, I don't think we even got that. So I'm
Yeah,
like,
no.
what does sex ed look like now?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know what it looks like either. But
It was just a question. I was like, how do we revamp that? Anyways.
unfortunately, I don't think. Well, I mean, I definitely think the porn industry has a lot that it could offer to the educational system, but the educational system is just not going to listen.
That's true.
So that would be my take on it.
Yeah.
Regardless, I think it's great what you guys are doing. I am all, or I really love to see porn that really like caters to the female gaze. I've started looking more for it and like being a little bit more intentional with it. So yeah, and
What's the name of the guided?
Guided cunnilingus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guided cunnilingus.
Okay.
that's the one you're gonna use. So yeah, thank you for all the content that you put out there. I think
Yeah.
that's phenomenal.
Well, yeah, I want to try it out. And like I said, I'm going to put AirPods on him with the guided video or the guided audio and then me not even listen to what's going on. So then it's just like a surprise. I think this is a great
But what are
idea.
you gonna listen to? I feel like they're I don't know.
Lights by Ellie Goulding. It brings back memories. All those bongs and a giant dick and a mirror.
Is that a way to recreate the moment, but like take control and make it better, like trauma healing?
It really wasn't like a bad experience for my first time. It was very just lots of things going on.
I love the words that you used for your first. Like, I'm glad it was like a very like positive and like you remember it and like it was really, you know, heartwarming.
It
And
was
you were
really
with
special.
that. Yeah,
it was really special.
And you were with that partner for 15 years. That's a
Yeah.
long time.
Did
so.
you ever think you would own after like a porn site?
Yeah, was it? Oh yeah,
so-
what was your career trajectory before?
Oh my goodness. So I started my career as an accountant.
Okay, OnlyFans.
Like a real literal accountant. Like I know my debits and credits.
No.
Phenomenal. I love that.
Yeah.
You know how everyone always makes.
The spicy accountant
Yeah.
like is a thing on TikTok. Yeah.
I think you
Yeah.
undid yours.
Oh,
Anyways, I can't hear you the same. Anyways,
hello. Can you hear me now?
nope, can't now.
Well,
plug
everybody,
yourself.
yeah. Check out Afterglow. Where can we find you?
So xoafterglow.com is the website, like hugs and kisses, xoafterglow.com. And everybody who's listening can get a free 7-day trial if they want to check it out. They can just use code DTFAM during checkout and would love to hear what you guys think about it. And you're definitely gonna have to tell me what you think of the guided
Oh my God,
cunnilingus.
I'm so excited.
And then
Yeah.
for anyone that tries it out, please send us a review if you have it. I'd love to hear it too. Like I'd love, you know, kind of when people give us feedback on some of the things that we put out there. So I'm trying to think. I know we sent a couple of our Patreon members.
Yeah,
the-
I was gonna say all of our
This-
Patreon members
got,
got
like,
the
the-
little stickers. Well, because
Yay!
you sent us a ton of them, and like after we filled the gift bags, I was like, I have a ton left over. I was like, where am I gonna put this?
So we sent our Patreon members. So I really want to see what if some of them tried it out, what they think of it as well. So,
Yeah.
Anyway,
But everybody, thank you for tuning in. Go watch some ethical porn at xoafterglow.com.
thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget, wear condoms. We'll see you next week.